We're very blessed to have great educational institutions that help us develop entrepreneurs. They can come from anywhere, though. And I think it is important that we in Illinois have opportunities for our startup companies to present their ideas, their inventions, their innovations to some of our major companies that we have doing business in Illinois. Big Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 companies are always looking for new ideas, and those ideas can sprout up anywhere. And it is important to have this process available where new companies, startups, we want to be startup state. We want to be the state that has a real investment in startup companies, but we want those startup companies to be able to present their ideas to major companies and go forward with them. So that's really what this challenge is all about. You're going to hear about how we put it together through our Innovation Council. I want to thank Brad Keywell, who's our chairperson of the Illinois Innovation Council. We began this several years ago. It really has developed many different ideas for the Illinois economy, and this is one of them. There would be a corporate startup challenge where companies could apply and then be interviewed and have a chance to present their ideas to some of our major corporations across Illinois.
For those of you unfamiliar with the ISTC, we're a member-driven nonprofit created by the state of Illinois about 20 years ago to increase research and tech-based economic development. And we do that by driving impactful public-private partnerships like this one. And so a year ago, Governor Quinn and Brad Keywell through the Innovation Council really challenged us with developing a program that could better link the state's entrepreneurs with the Fortune 500 community. And we wanted to drive value on both sides of the equation. For entrepreneurs looking for customers and validation of their business and often maybe have had a hard time linking with the corporate community. And for the corporate community who are increasingly looking outside their walls for innovation and being able to really help them with new ideas and new technologies that they might be able to think about. As we said, this started as a pilot a year ago with Motorola Mobility, John Deere, Allstate, Walgreens, and Molex. And we were thrilled now to have their leadership along the way as we improved the process as we kind of ran this like a startup ourselves. And currently we're working with 3 additional corporations, Exelon, Hyatt, and ADM. So in terms of the program DNA, we wanted to work with early stage companies all the way from sort of pre-revenue, those in our research and tech parts, to emerging growth companies. And in terms of the spectrum of engagement, we really wanted to cast a wide net in how we can really add value for the entrepreneurs and the corporations. So everything from more informal, maybe mentorship, apprenticeship agreements or arrangements, all the way up to joint development and even path to investment and contracts. So what really initiated this process is we went to the 5 corporations and we asked them to put areas on the table, innovation challenges they were having where we could source the corporation, the community for them. So this ranged from energy and power management to sensor technology to app development and data analytics. So that was what really initiated this process, and then what brought us to the community partners. So we had more than 20 to 30 partners that we engaged in this process, from the state's civic and nonprofit groups, the incubator and accelerator programs like 1871, venture capital and the angel investment networks and their portfolio companies, as well as our research universities, their entrepreneurship centers and tech transfer offices. And I can't really underscore the uniqueness of this program because of the slide you see here, that the community, we were a bit of an intermediary to sort of get the community together, but really the value is derived from all of you and the efforts that you have. So I want to recognize, I know many of you are here in this room from these entities, not only for your partnership with us, but also just for the work you do day in and day out to create more entrepreneurs and sustainable companies.
The project is proving to be really what everybody has been saying for a few years about the importance of our state connecting our big companies with our small companies. When we think about creating jobs and fertilizing the world of startups, those connections are the oxygen. And by facilitating these connections, the groups that we're talking about here that have come together in this initiative are really doing meaningful and important work. About a year ago, I wrote an article for Forbes magazine about chief startup officers as a concept, and the thought that every big company has almost an opportunity / responsibility to reach out and connect with startups in the community. And after a year, what we're seeing is that this concept is taking hold in a big way. Big corporations are realizing that entrepreneurs can solve problems that perhaps they can't solve And more importantly, they're realizing that in our backyard are some amazing minds and some amazing things happening. Startups no longer need to see a potential corporate client as this insurmountable challenge, partly because we are helping them make those connections, and we're helping them find ways to connect with pretty tough people to get to. And we thought that the sort of Byzantine nature sometimes of big companies could be solved with the governor's help. And so our governor and all the people that have been come together on this have really used the power of their megaphone to encourage our big companies to make opportunity available to our small companies. This kind of innovation and connectivity does not need to be unique to the coast. It is becoming very unique to Illinois. This is a groundbreaking program. We are creating a platform for connectivity that literally does not exist in this country. And what we're seeing is that other states are starting to realize the work that we've done and follow our lead. That is cool. That is very satisfying. And that is an example of leadership in not only talking about innovation, but making innovation part of the fabric of our state and the fabric of our edge, that we have these big companies and we have startups and we can connect them. We're very excited to be reporting the first wins, and having 18 documented wins in our first 6 months is remarkable. That's 18 opportunities for companies to grow in a real way and for big companies to be exposed to the reality that these startups can solve their problems. That's a big deal. And we're also excited to be working with ADM, Exelon, and Hyatt in the coming months. And really, my punchline is that the hope and the call here is for every big company in Illinois to join our program.
1871 has hosted this initiative since it began, and we're very excited. And every day we participate in the process of seeing how this connection is going on. And it's really important to understand that while in the United States in the last 10 years there's been no net new job growth, one sector has created new jobs consistently, and that's startups. Not small companies, but new companies. And so to be a part of that and to engage with that whole process has been very exciting. And last week the governor was here and we announced our expansion. And one of the focuses of the 1871 expansion is in areas and incubators which will align very nicely with these big corporations, because most of the big corporations in the state of Illinois would tell you that they're just not initiating enough ideas internally. And so this is a way of bringing R&D, external R&D, into the entire process of these big companies. And last week the governor stole, one of my lines, which I've agreed to let him use throughout the next few months, and that is that we're in the business of turning ideas into invoices. But ultimately, that's what really is going on here, and that's what's important. Nobody is doing these initiatives because they feel good for the community or because of the charity of their hearts. This is mission critical. This is absolutely essential, and it's not nice to have, it's need to have. We need to be a part of this process. So the last thing that I would say to you is that everybody here can also help in encouraging this process, but it wouldn't go anywhere without the efforts of the governor, and he has been an astonishing support and force in terms of bringing this whole thing together. So we're happy to be here. We're happy to have all of you here, and I want to congratulate all the 18 companies, but ultimately we're hoping that, as you heard before, every major company in the state of Illinois will connect with startups from 1871 and from elsewhere as well. Thank you.